Well, hello. Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie Liu, and welcome to another episode of Showrunner, live selling strategies and tips to help you turn browsers into buyers. Friends, we are on to the next episode, and we're going to be learning all about the live selling producers checklist. So if you're just tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from, because I'm here in beautiful, sunny San Diego. And having said that, let's get started.
'Cause it's finally, yeah, finally, yeah, oh, 'cause it's finally, yeah, finally, yeah, ooh.
All right, friends. Hey, we've got Georgia in the house. So happy to see familiar faces. We got Mr. Camera Junkie over here, and we've got the amazing, the wonderful moderator, Paul Duncan, in the house. What? I'm excited. Okay, so everything that I've been talking to you about as far as live selling, it's very different from being a live selling producer. If anything, I think it actually expands your role as far as how helpful you can be in helping a client build their brand and their bottom line. So having said that, if you're just tuning in, again, let me know where you are tuning in from. We've got Renee from Florida. That's what's up. Hey. We have also got Ian Oates from Manchester, United Kingdom. Thank you so much for being here. And yes, if you haven't heard already, we have a bunch of freebies from the show. So all the templates, all the slides, all the things, plus access to an exclusive workshop where you could get to meet some of my live selling partners, these software as a solution platforms, so that way you can jumpstart your career as a live selling producer. So head on over to ecamm.tv/live selling. Make sure that you are RSVP'd, because that will also get the shows into your calendars, as well as making sure that you get those emails every time Katie and the crew sends them out. P.S. By the way, I love the name Katie and the crew. I feel like we need to have that hashtag Katie and the crew, and then crew needs to be spelled with a K. All right, so having said that, we are on May 26th, live selling tips, producers checklist. That's absolutely what we're going to cover today. I have a lot to tell you, and let me tell you, when I work on these slides, I try to keep the slides very condensed, and then from there, I fill in the gaps for you. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you have your notebooks and your pens, whatever note-taking tool that you already have, because we're going to fill in a lot of that stuff. This is also going to be a really great time for you to ask questions, because as you can already tell by the pace of my voice, we're going to cover a lot. Having said that, we are also going to be doing June 2nd next month. So live selling 2022. Yeah, trends and what you can expect. And then the day after that, which is June 3rd, we're going to do an actual Ecamm live selling extravaganza, showing you with Preston Sylvia Nixon, how we actually set up a Facebook live shopping from the back end, from beginning, middle to end. Good. We'll also do on June 9th, live selling producer pricing your services. That's definitely one that you'll want to pay attention to. Plus, I'll be going live, I think, from Panama City. So I'm going to get the exclusive airline lounge, so I can have really great stable internet to do that show for you. And then June 16th, we're going to round everything out by doing a live selling roundtable and workshop. And as I said before, that's going to be your opportunity to get to know my friends and ask all the questions about all of the live streaming platforms. Again, if you haven't done so already, head on over to ecamm.tv/live selling. All right, boom, we've got Valerie Pinkston in the house again. That's what's up. That's what I'm super excited to see, is that you guys show up, ask your questions, and do all the things, because that's where we're going to hit the ground running. Stressed out, stress-free. So nice to see you. Oh, and look at that. Living well in San Diego. That's my girl, Marie. Marie's birthday. Can y'all hop in the comments and give her a shout out? Say happy birthday. Happy birthday. That's right. Good. Yes, Valerie, I was waiting for you. I was like, girl, I can't even get started unless you're here. Awesome. You got Toronto, Belfast, yes. Oh, Lagos, Nigeria. Valerie's like, let's go. She's here. Good. Oh, yes. And Paul, you're the best. Again, remember, if you have a question, put a Q in front of it, because that lets me know that you have a question. Otherwise, it's a comment. So having said that, let's go ahead and jump right in. We're talking about the live selling producers checklist. And the way that I really wanted to chunk up on this was really tell you that there's really 3 key components that you want to pay attention to. The first one is going to be the platform. Which platform are you going to be using? Then you want to know the people. And when I say people, that involves who is your main key stakeholder. So pretty much who hired you. And then based off of the client who hired you, who else is on their team that you will be responsible for working with. That could be the talent, that could be the PR agency, that could be the marketing company, and they're trying to do all this promo stuff, right? So there's all those pieces that come into play. We'll spend a lot of time there talking about people too, because oftentimes there's this question that I get from clients where it's like, should I hire an influencer, or should I hire a live streamer, or can I actually find a unicorn that fulfills both of those roles? In fact, I get that question asked a lot. Someone asked me that yesterday, so I'll let you know how that conversation kind of went. Then we also got to think about like the product in and of itself, because of course we're doing live selling. So whether you're doing live selling for a t-shirt, someone had mentioned that last week, or if you're doing consumer packaged goods, we have to think as a live selling producer all the different nuances, because again, more often than not, clients come to this and they have an idea of what live selling is, but they actually haven't walked the walk. And so with integrity, because you and I, we're live streamers, we're Ecamm fam, we've probably done live selling ourselves, we can talk the talk and we can walk the walk with integrity in all of that. Good? All right. Happy birthday to Marie. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving her some love. I think she and I have been fam for such a long, long time. All right. Good. And Talk Funding, thank you so much. You already subscribed to live selling. Good. So let's first talk about platform. Yeah, when we talk about the different platforms, remember when I first told you like all the different places that you could actually do live selling on? So let's start in alphabetical order just because it's fresh in my mind. There's Amazon Live. So what does the client need to know about Amazon Live? Do they actually meet the requirements to do an Amazon live selling segment, or are they actually leveraging your account? Maybe perhaps because you are an Amazon influencer, or maybe you're working with an influencer that already has Amazon live selling access. Does that make sense? So you want to know which platform you're going to be working on. There's Amazon Live, there's Facebook Live, there's Instagram Live, there's TikTok, there's YouTube, and then you also have the live shopping platforms such as LiveScale, Firework, Livecom, all the different things. You might even have integrations with Comment Sold. I went through those names pretty quickly, but that gives you a note of like, oh my gosh, like I need to go ahead and check those out and figure out what the different nuances for every single one of those. So once you figure out what that platform is going to be like, oftentimes when I'm sitting down with the client, I have to understand, well, who is setting up the platform? And the reason why I say that is because if I, like, let's say, for example, I know livescale.tv like the back of my hand, right? And if they need me to, I could set up the actual livescale.tv registration page, put up the thumbnail, add the copy, and all the different things. More often than not, though, a client will already have someone on the live selling platform, maybe like an onboarding manager that does that for them. But I think it's helpful for you to know whether or not that's something that you want to offer as part of your services, or if you're pretty much going to be the producer where you just say, all right, give me the stream key, and then, I'll jump in there. The other thing that's helpful to know too is when you're thinking about these platforms, right? I'll give you an example again. Let's say Amazon. So when you're live streaming on Amazon, yes, you can use Ecamm. And again, shout out to Doc Rock, who gave us an Amazon Live profile that you could download to Stream Deck that will automatically, or actually download to Ecamm, and you already have an Amazon Live profile. Okay, so I know that if I'm going live on Amazon, I'm going to connect Ecamm, but I also need the Amazon Live app on an iOS device. That could be an iPhone or that can be an iPad. But I know as a producer, okay, what are the different things that I need to connect to it? If I were to go live on Facebook Live Shopping, see, I told you we're in it now. If we're going to do Facebook Live Shopping, then as far as setup goes, client needs to make sure that they have their Facebook shop already created, that they have the SKUs and all that other stuff already put together. You have to define whether or not you're helping the client with that or the client is doing that him or herself. Does that make sense? Because that's a lot of work that you probably haven't even taken into consideration just yet. The other thing that I know about Facebook Live Shopping, and again, you'll see this on June 3rd when we actually do the Facebook Live Shopping, is that once you have all of your SKUs, your product list already set up on the back end, you're going live via Ecamm, plus you're going live on the desktop, the Facebook Live producer, so that way you can manually show products on the screen. Does that make sense? And even on Amazon Live, the way for you to actually show products on the screen is that you would have the Amazon app and you would still show it there. So the reason why I'm sharing all of this with you is because you may in fact want to have a second producer help you out when you have to make certain graphics and overlays, like products pretty much show up on the live shopping platform. Does that make sense? Good. So even for example, on livescale.tv, when I'm working on livescale.tv with a particular client, I'm in charge of Ecamm. Like I'm in charge of bringing the host and perhaps like a guest into Ecamm and handling that. But someone else on livescale.tv, whether it's on the client side or the onboarding specialist, is going to be responsible for moderating the chat, kind of like what Paul Duncan is doing right now, putting up the announcements, the graphics, and the products on the live selling platform. So I think that's really going to be important for you as we talk about platform, right? So you have to ask the right questions as far as setup, making sure that you have access, making sure that you have access to the stream key. And more often than not, I mean, put this down like in your notes too. It's always helpful to have like a test event on a live shopping platform. So that way you can get used to how long does it take Ecamm to actually connect to the live shopping platform, right? So for example, on Amazon, the delay is probably like 30 seconds to a minute, I'll be honest. And then Facebook Live, that's probably the same thing, 30 seconds to a minute. However, on livescale.tv, what kind of tripped me out when I was building that out for a client is that sometimes the delay could be a minute to 2 minutes. So that means even when I'm putting a countdown timer, like I'm backing up the run of show. Like I pretty much start, let's say the show starts at 3 p.m. I'm starting the countdown timer. Like I'm actually trying to connect to LiveScale at around like 2:53. So that way we could start the timer on time. Does that make sense? Good. Oh, see, Valerie, I love that you asked this question. So her question is, do these platforms allow you to test privately without going to a live audience? Yes. So in particular, to answer your question on Amazon, there is a private mode. So take advantage of that. Practice as many times as you need to. That could also be a tech rehearsal for you and your client. On Facebook, they do have a practice mode as well. On LiveScale, you would just have to create like a test event, and I would imagine you would do the same for the other live shopping platforms that are out there. So again, that was a really great question. Do these platforms allow you to test privately without going to a live audience? When we start talking about pricing next month, there's going to be a live selling producer estimate. And you need to build into your time for you to actually understand the nuances, the setup of every single one of these platforms. Good. And shout out to Andy, who is tuning in from Spain. That's awesome. Okay. And then let's talk about the control room. So this is what I meant by, yes, you could use Ecamm to produce the show, but the control room could be the Amazon app on an iOS device. It could be the Facebook Live producer on a separate desktop, on a separate laptop, in order for you to show the products and make sure that they appear and disappear when you want them to. Okay. The other thing that's really helpful to understand as a live selling producer is, of course, going to be the user experience. And the reason why I say this is because oftentimes clients are so used to having their own, like, let's say Shopify store, or they're used to live streaming and just dropping a link in the comments that takes them out of the live shopping experience. What we're mostly looking for as live selling producers and even the live selling shopping platforms is to create an integrated experience where checkout is pretty much seamless. So oftentimes when I'm working with these clients, I want to know what the user experience is going to look like. What this means is when I'm on Amazon, I know how it's going to look like, right? I know that the products are going to show at the very bottom. It's easy for me as a presenter to say, hey, go ahead and add this to your cart. most people on this planet have bought something on like Amazon before. Yeah. But if you're using a different live shopping platform or something that's different from their typical social media channels, you may have to teach your audience, your customers, on the process, the user experience of purchasing a product. So oftentimes I will tell clients like it's helpful to have let's say like a 30-second onboarding video of like, this is how you add the product to your cart. This is how you add the specific promo code and all the different things. Yeah. The user experience too is also very helpful for you to know as a live selling producer. How is this show actually going to look like on desktop versus mobile? On desktop versus mobile. So I prefer when I'm sitting down with the client and they say, Stephanie, I want to do a live shopping event, I usually ask them, okay, so which live shopping platform are you using, or which social media platform are you using? And it's for me as a live selling producer where I have to understand how that looks like, sounds like, and feels like from a customer onboarding perspective. Okay, good. As life it happens, you're asking about firework. I don't even know that. I don't know the answers to that question. You're going to have to reach out to them directly. Cool? Awesome. Oh, look. Elizabeth is saying, hey there, I can't believe I'm catching you live. I'm catching you live. Hey. It's to have you here. Okay. Good. Okay, so we talked about the user experience. The other piece too is understanding whether or not there is a back channel. So as you know, with Ecamm, if I have two people on set, right, there's an interview chat modal that we have. When I'm working with the client though, client may be like in what we call like the war room, or they're watching the show, they're paying attention to all the different things, but they're not actually in Ecamm with me. So this is what we call a back channel. And the back channel means like it could be a group text on your smartphone device, it could be on WhatsApp, but whatever it is, it's communication between you and the main stakeholder. The types of conversations that I've had with me and the main stakeholder is, hey, talent has flown by the run of show. Are we going to pad this? Are we going to go a little bit longer? Or sometimes in the back channel with me and the main producer, they might actually have someone else on set with the talent. I'm like, hey, can you make sure that you adjust the mic with the presenter or do whatever it is that you have to do? We may also even see that because the client is watching like the live selling dashboard, they may send a message back to me like, hey, Stephanie, can you put that promo code up there a little bit longer? Hey, can you do this? And so the show becomes fluid. It becomes pretty much like this orchestrated dance between myself and the main stakeholder. Then there's a second back channel, and the second back channel is generally between myself, my main stakeholder, and the presenter. And the reason for that is because we want to make sure that the presenter has all of their questions answered just in case. Even though we've already had the tech rehearsal, right, the onboarding and all of that stuff, we still want to have a back channel where, let's say the influencer's like, oh, I'm just looking at the run of show now. They have a few clarifying questions. That's an opportunity where they could have that conversation on the back channel. Now, when we typically have something like that, I will tell the TV presenter or the influencer, if you're going to have your phone by you, please at least make sure that it's on vibrate and it's away from the microphone because we don't want to have that feedback into the mic. The reason why I generally tell them to have it on vibrate versus silent is because when it's silent, they might not see it. Like they're most likely staring at the camera or they're paying attention to the run of show. But if they at least have it on vibrate sitting on their lap or at least right next to them, they know like, oh, hey, now is the time to announce the winner. Does that make sense? Good. Cool. So there's a lot of different nuances that I want to have you to remember when you're setting up all of this. And again, when we start talking about the pricing and the services, all of this should be a part of your onboarding process. So even I think it was probably in episode 1, and when I was telling you what the pre-event onboarding process looks like, this is kind of like a chunked down version. This is where I get into the nitty gritty of all of it. So we talked about setup. I want to know which platform in particular we're using. Are they already locked in or are they still in the deciding phase of it? Because I typically won't go and engage with the client until they actually sign on the dotted line and say, okay, this is the platform that we're going to use. The other thing too that's really helpful is that when you're having these conversations, perhaps maybe in your discovery call, is to ask them, is this a one-time engagement or are you doing multiple shows? And I say that because sometimes these live shopping platforms will lock a client in for a series of live shopping events versus just one. Does that make sense? So live shopping platform can say, hey, we'll give you a great deal if you do 4 live shopping segments, versus if the client just comes to you and says, oh, well, we just want to go live on Facebook. And it's like, well, Facebook isn't going to charge you to do that. So how does that all look like? Good. Jennifer's saying having the phone on vibrate on your lap is really a smart idea. The vibration won't interfere with the mic, yet will prompt your talent. Yeah, it's super helpful, Jennifer, because again, like I said, it's really helpful. Oh, that actually reminds me too, the back channel is really, really helpful when you need to get the talent to come back on camera. I once had talent where they're like, oh, I have 5 minutes. And as we all know, as producers, 5 minutes can go by really quickly, or sometimes 5 minutes can feel like a long time. And I think for me as a producer, I'm just like, hey, you can step out of the room for a hot second if you need to take a phone call, to respond to an email, but I need you to at least be in the vicinity where you can hear my voice. Good? Oftentimes what I would tell to clients, especially talent, when we're about to have a show, I say like, listen, you're going to completely nail this. You know the run a show. But if for any reason, right, I give them kind of like a backup. If for any reason something happens, I may hop on, right, because I'm still in the Ecamm interview chat or interview. I may hop on as like the voice of God just to get you right back on track, or have them announce the winner. So for example, I'd be like, thank you for tuning in. Just a quick reminder that the live shopping segment is going to end in 5 minutes, right? I'll just do something like that. And I tell the talent in advance just in case. So it kind of gives me a quick moment. The other thing too, and we'll talk about this for people when we go into tech rehearsal, is teaching the talent how to go about and use the Ecamm stuff. Let's say, okay, here's a question from Valerie. Valerie's saying, how do you deal with clients who are paying you but still have a hard time giving you control and make it tougher for you as a producer to create the best user experience? Yeah, Valerie, at that point, it's really talking to the client. And I find that resistance in a client means that there's a lack of rapport. That means you as a producer, you and me, we have to do a better job of building that confidence with the client. Because more often than not, people want to have control over things because they don't trust the other party. And so you have to really figure out, okay, what is it that this person needs in order for me to instill that confidence within them? I have a firm belief that behind every conflict, there's an underlying need that's not being met. And so you have to understand, okay, do I need to show them the storyboard again? How does it visually look like? Do I have to go through the run of show with them again? Do I have to give them case studies? So all this time I'm building that rapport, and I'm satisfying what we call in NLP, the client's convincer strategy. And I also have to reassure them that I'm the right person for the job. Does that make sense? Like, especially if they've never done this before. So again, the question was, how do you deal with clients who are paying you but still have a hard time giving you control and make it tougher for you? You have to build rapport with the client. You have to figure out, how do I reassure the client in letting them know that I know what it is that I know best, right? And my job is to bring out the best in my guest. Good, good, good. All right. Shout out to Gabe who was tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. So we talked about setup, platform in general. All of this is super helpful. And let's be honest too, if someone comes to you and, like, I've actually had clients from Latin America and they're telling me about other live shopping platforms that I'm not familiar with in the US. And so I'll be open and honest with them and say, well, let me set up a demo so I can learn more about it. And if they actually have a person to, or if let's say they have an actual onboarding manager at that live shopping platform, I would actually ask for a live shopping demo, just so I understand all the different nuances. But again, if you're taking notes, my big thing is the stream key. How long will it take for me, when I say go live on Ecamm, how long will it take the live shopping platform to actually ingest and connect me, like operator, into the matrix pretty much at that point? Because then I have to plan in advance for it. Good. Shout out to Hot Prayers and Poetry. Excellent question. Excellent answer. Yeah, so if you didn't write it down, resistance in a client is a sign of a lack of rapport. And so the better that you could communicate to your clients and instill confidence of like, this is my process, this is why it works, it's going to be super helpful. This is also why I have the video script maker, because I show them these are the elements. These are everything that I've analyzed, having done so many live shopping events, or even just watching Amazon Live and other live shopping events. This is what I've learned, right? For those of you that are even content creators, the way that you built your YouTube channels or the way that you structured your shows is because you're modeling after excellence. And so you know what nuances make a show flow so much easier, makes it easy and effortless, right? So for example, even just having Paul here say, put a question in front, that helps Stephanie find your question. I actually integrated this into the run of show with a client. I say, because sometimes they'll say, you know, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. And so I had to jump in there using Ecamm fam, experience and say, you know what actually would be better is if you tell your viewers to put a Q in front of the question, so that way the presenter knows automatically how they can address those questions. Oh, you know what, that actually reminds me too. When you're thinking about the platform, you want to know how will the presenter see the questions and the comments. See, the nice thing about Ecamm is that I can see your comments right then and there, but when I'm plugging in, right, if I'm plugging into Amazon, I can only see the comments in the Amazon Live app. So that's something that you have to train the talent as well. Even on livescale.tv, the comments are going to come in through what they call the control room. But because the talent is with me in Ecamm, they're not going to see it. So the question is really, is the talent, do they have the technological gear to have Ecamm open in a browser and the control room in another browser and manage that? The reason why I say that is because as live streamers, you and I are used to that. Like I could have another tab open right now and be like, boom, cool, I could see that and not be distracted. However, if you're hiring, let's say, an influencer who has not done a lot of camera work, it starts to feel overwhelming for them. So that's something that's going to be really helpful. Q colon. Question colon. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Good. All right, so we talked about platform, all the reasons why you need to know this. And look, even me and just explaining that to you, look, I'm looking at the time, that was like a good 30 minutes of just explaining to you the importance of understanding the platform. So when you're billing your time, you have to be mindful of that too. Here's the other thing is that when we're talking about the people, so we talked about, I think it was Valerie that had asked this, how do you make sure that the client gives you control? You have to know who your main stakeholder is. You have to know what their decision-making strategy is, how you're going to reassure them. Again, this is where NLP totally comes into play and is super duper helpful. The other people that I want to be mindful of is the talent. And so we all know tech rehearsals and how important they are, and onboarding especially. So getting the client really familiar with how the Ecamm live studio, as I like to call it, how it looks like and all the other things. So let me actually show you something that I really appreciated from one of the Ecamm fam, and you might want to give him a shout out. This is Tora, the tech guy. And I remember in the Ecamm live community, probably in the beta community, he had shared this as far as like, hey, this is how I prepare my clients. Or like, hey, get ready. He has a short video. He also has download the 5 tips. Here's the button to join the broadcast. He also has additional information about what kind of gear you could have, all on one page, which I thought was pretty clever. Then he also has this one where it's like navigating the Ecamm guest interface. Look how he says, like, about 15 minutes before the broadcast, this is basically what you want to do. This is how you choose your camera. This is how you choose your microphone, type in your name and all those different things. This to me is a class act because this helps me onboard a client a lot faster. It's like they're pre-study material on how they could be the best on camera. And so if you don't have anything like this, I highly recommend you put something like this together. So he has this. He also even mentions the different gear, right? So what kind of audio, what kind of microphone he would recommend. If you already have like a kit.co or an Amazon affiliate, this is your opportunity to drop your links in there, because I can't tell you how many times I've had clients really reach out and be like, hey, Stephanie, what's the best ones to use? And as you saw before, I'm a big Elgato fan because it's plug and play. It's easy for me to onboard a guest, and it doesn't break the client's budget if they're shipping a studio in a box to their talent. Good? Great. So then navigating the Ecamm interface. Look, Tech the Torah guy, Torah Tech guy, he goes in here even more. He's like, this is your camera. This is what you're going to see. This is how you mute your mic. This is how you do this, or this is how you hang up. In fact, whenever I'm actually working with clients, when we're doing the tech rehearsal, I have them join Ecamm and leave Ecamm. So I get them used to like, how do you join? How do you hang up? How do you go in there and change your mics and all the other things, right? So shout out to As Life Happens. She says, what a great idea, Stephanie. Great video tutorial. Yeah, I think having a video tutorial, or even, what do you call it? An evergreen webinar that just plays, is going to be really helpful in getting your client used to the Ecamm studio before they even jump in. I think this also helps you be prepared as a live selling producer, so that way your client is like, wow, this producer is really buttoned up. They know what it is that they're talking about. So he even goes on to like say, you know, how you can center your screen, look directly into the camera. So these are all things that are super duper helpful. And then you go from there. So again, he has the join the broadcast in there. I love this as a straight up landing page, which is absolutely awesome. I love the video that's in there as well. Valerie is saying, wow, I love that. Very useful. It's classy, right? It's a different onboarding experience that really separates you from the sea of sameness. So you have to think to yourself, when do I start onboarding a client, and how does that look like? So you could do this, what Torah Tech Guy has put together, or you could do something where it's just, maybe it's an ebook, maybe it's a Google Doc, or whatever it is. Video I actually prefer is very helpful, because even then, sometimes I've had clients where their particular mic or their camera isn't the one that's connecting that they want to. And so I'll even talk to them about Chrome settings on how to set that up. Talk Funding says, I've been really struggling with my interviewees on this issue, and thank you for ideas. Yeah. Here's the thing is that sometimes when we're talking to other live streamers, anytime I have a guest on my show, if they're a live streamer, I know that they're going to get it. I know that they understand. More often than not, when these clients are hiring these influencers or these presenters, the best comparison that I could give them is Zoom. Not to say that Zoom is in comparison to Ecamm at all, but the way that I pre-frame it is, when I want you to join the studio, it's as easy as clicking a link to Zoom. So you're going to get my special link, which PS, by the way, you know that in Ecamm, you could have like your special link for that. When you click on this link, it's going to prompt you. And then I show them that screen. I'm like, it's going to ask you for the camera. How do you connect it? And this is how it's going to look like. I also, when I'm talking to them, is I also direct them to, like, this is where you're going to see the comments show up. That will show up in Facebook Live, but it's not going to show up on Amazon, and it's definitely not going to show up on Livefire or livescale.tv. Does that make sense? But I do show them the private chat between the producer, myself, and the guest. So I'm like, hey, if you see this starting to light up, that means like I'm trying to talk to you. And then again, you have the back channel, which is like the extra on top of it. Team Death, just test live. What could possibly go wrong? I'm joking. That's right. I mean, do it at your own risk, right? I mean, honestly, for me, I'm the type of person where, I mean, think back to when you first started live streaming and just how nervous you were for that. And now you add live shopping into the mix, and like the marketing manager or whoever you're working with is responsible for getting an ROI for investing in the live shopping platform, for investing into you. And when you come to the table as a problem solver and getting them super duper prepared, then that's going to be really great. All right, cool. So we talked about the tech rehearsal and the onboarding. How can you make that a seamless process that really makes you stand out from the rest? Good. Then I also talked to them about the interview mode. This is where I usually show them, because in Ecamm, you could have the different scenes. So I can show them like, okay, so if you're doing a product demo, we could do something like this where your head is floating and then I could play a video. Or if you're going to do a solo scene, it can look like this. If you want to have another guest on the show, it's going to look like this, right? So there's a lot of things that I'm trying to bring it up now. I think I locked the screen. That's okay. So I show them the different scenes as far as how it can look like during the tech rehearsal. And that's generally where you may find that the client starts to make little differences in their run of show. Because again, they may not have figured, oh, maybe I want to have like an overhead shot, right? This is like my mic extension, boom arm extension. Yeah. So we go through the interview mode. This is where I have them practicing going in and out, going in and out. And the reason for that is because, again, I just want to make sure that they know how to do it. I want to make sure that they know how to mute their mics and unmute their mics. Even in your onboarding, in your tech rehearsal, you're going to do the bare bone basics. You know this, the audio, the video, the internet upload speed. Those are things that you should already know from Showrunner Season 1. I'm leveling up your experience by giving you other things to consider. Sometimes what I will say is that if a client's internet upload speed isn't up to where we want it to be, I may suggest that they use Speedify. So Speedify will create a bonded network between your Wi-Fi and your cellular network. I think if you as a live selling producer can offer that to your clients, then that's an added bonus. Worst case scenario, I would say they would just have to go to a co-working spot, and test the internet there and have it all done, especially if they don't have like a really fancy set that they need to have put together. But I'd say the easiest thing that you could do is send out an Ethernet cable that you order from Amazon and pretty much go from there. Good. All right. So other things to consider is when you also have this tech rehearsal and you're reviewing the run of show, it's nice to have the run of show review it with the team. Because from there, I'm usually saying, okay, so this is where we're going to show the promo code once more. This is where we're going to do this or da-da-da. And so this helps me work with the talent to show them this is how it's going to look like. It's also helpful for me to show them like, okay, so when we show the product is actually going to show right here. So make sure that you're not leaning over there or you're doing certain things, okay? The other thing too, when we're doing this, when I'm working with clients is we go through the run of show. I want to make sure that they know their transitions because I have been on some very, very painful segments where the interviewer didn't know how to transition from one segment to the other. And it just really killed the momentum, the energy, and the vibe for that particular show. Good. The other thing too is remember in the last episode, we talked about stories and how you use stories to move the audience from one mindset to another into a buying mode. And so oftentimes when I see a run a show, the client will say like, oh, influencer, we just want you to share a story of how you discovered our brand. And influencers like, oh, I could definitely do that, but they're not doing it strategically. And so go ahead and take a look at last week's episode because we go through that whole entire process of how to move your audience from one mindset to the other. And along that way, you're strategically story selling from there. Good? Great. So we go through the different stories that can introduce the brand, stories that can handle objections, stories from other people, maybe different demographics, different use cases that flow into all of that. Good. What questions do you guys have? I feel like you're all taking notes. I'm like, where am I coming? Like, where are you guys at? Okay, cool. So we talked about people. And I tell my clients as well as the talent, you have my brain on speed dial. So if you have any last minute questions, I usually block out the whole entire day for a live shopping segment just in case, just in case. And so that means I'm not trying to rush from one client to another, one meeting to another. I block out a whole entire day for that particular client. So if that's something that you want to do, make sure that you charge accordingly, because not only is it the face-to-face time with you in these meetings, the setup, the back office stuff, but it's also just that energy of holding that space for that entire day. Good? All right, awesome. Let's move right along and let's talk about product. So oftentimes when I'm working with clients, I want to know what specifically are we actually selling on the show? And so when I think about the product, I want them to show it to me. What kind of demo do you want to do? Are you imagining like an unboxing video, or is it something that you're doing a taste test? And the reason for that is because oftentimes, if it's a solo person that is doing a demo, right? Let me go back over here. If it's a solo person that's doing a demo, it's easy for me to know okay, I'm going to pick up the product. And when I do this, I'm going to move it away from the mic so that it doesn't bang or make a noise. Or actually, I've done things before where I have a basket and I put pillows in there and then I'll just drop it. So that way it's not taking up too much space on my desk, but I'm strategically moving it out of frame. Does that make sense? We also have them practicing the demo, because do you want to have a mic in front of them? Do you want to have a Rode Wireless Go mic over here? Or do you want to have one above their head? So I want to know specifically what is the product, and when they're unboxing it or when they're doing something with it, is it going to make a lot of noise, like crinkly sounds? And I was once on a show, and it was a consumer packaged goods, and every time it kind of drove me nuts. Every time she brought up the product, she would put it right by the mic, and then she would, I don't know what the hell she was doing with her hands. Sorry, Katie, I just dropped it. But I don't know what she was doing with her hands, but it was just can you just hold it without making so much damn noise? And so those are things to be mindful of. How loud is this product? How many camera angles are you going to do? Are you going to be unboxing it? Is it already going to be unboxed? Are you going to hold it up to the camera? Are you going to taste it? Or there's a lot of things that I want to know, how's this going to flow? Because once you do that, then I understand the different camera angles. I've also had it where it's kind of it was an acrylic tray, and it had all the different things in there for her to pick up and use and demo, which was great. And then you just put it back down. Again, if you're putting anything down, you want to have a soft surface so it doesn't make a sound. Valerie is saying, nice, pillows in a basket. Great idea. Some people are noisy with their stuff. They need that basket with the pillows. Yeah, for sure. I mean, unless it's an ASMR video, I totally get it. But I think if you are trying to unbox a product and you're trying to do a demo and you're explaining, you're giving them the directions, the instructions, you're finally dropping the hook, right? You're dropping the call to action, but you're making background noises, and it makes it really hard for them to follow along. So I want to keep the audience engaged as much as possible. So understanding the demo, how that's going to look like or sound like. The other piece too is that if it's a lot, if there's just a lot of stuff that's involved with the demo, then I may even just say do you have a 1-minute video for this? Can we just play a video? And then as it's doing the video, we could have this scene where, let's say, video plays and then you are in a bubble and then you're just talking through the process. Yeah, that's an opportunity over there. See, I love how smart you guys are. Jennifer just jumped in. She's like, I use towels. Yeah, get creative. Blankets, towels, whatever it is that you have to do. Or even, what is it called? My daughter has it in her crafting thing, but it's these little cushiony papers that they use a lot for their crafts. But you could put that in an acrylic box, I guess you could say, for the catch-all. Yeah. As life happens, are there mannequin mock-ups that I can use for my yoga apparel? I use Placeit, but I'm limited to their pre-designed templates that are not always the same style as mine. Mannequin mock-ups. That's a good question. To be honest, I don't know. I really don't know about that one. Hopefully someone in the Ecamm fam can assist you with that. But I would even imagine, so remember when I said you may just want to play a video? So you could have a model and you could just demonstrate the different, like for example, I bought this dress on Amazon and I really liked it because it had like this cut, right? And so I could do this, but this could be like a pre-recorded video and then, all that stuff. And then you could play it there. Oh my God, is that Zaylee Barkley? Shh.
Hit you with that do-do-do-do.
Look at that girl crush in full effect. Ah, I love it, Zay. So happy to see you. Yes. So Zay, what we're talking about is live selling. And so this is why it's so important for me to know the demo of it, right? So like even let's say if it's tech, I'm like, okay, influencer, if you're shipping product over to the influencer, you have to make sure that the stuff is charged. You have to know how to like easily turn it on, turn it off, and do all the different things, right? So that way it comes off naturally and it's authentic. There's nothing more like annoying than having a presenter that just isn't authentic. Like they're trying to leverage their clout so much, like their audience following, that when they're on camera, it's completely incongruent. Good. See, Valerie, wait, hold up. Valerie's in here. She says, start, shoot, grow, video camera. I'm a fan, love your work. See, everyone loves Zay. Zay.
How you like that?
Good. All right. So when you're thinking about the demo, how long is that demo? Do they need to clear out space? When they're doing the demo, are they standing or are they sitting? Other things, are they moving from one station to another? Because as you know, with Ecamm, you could connect multiple cameras if you wanted to. So that's an opportunity there as well. The other thing too is, do you want to have testimonials? So are you going to have testimonials playing in the background, or do you want to have a graphic for it? Are you also going to include a segment for Q&A? Because in the Run a Show, as soon as I show you this, like, what questions do you have? That gives me time to do that as well. When I also think about the product, graphics, what kind of graphics do I want? So this is kind of like your live shopping segment. If you're offering like a bundle, a promo code, like you might want to have like a countdown timer to say like, okay, this flash sale is only going to happen for the next 20 minutes. And then you have the countdown timer running. At that point, you could do the product demo and then it's like, oh snap, I need to get this right now. If you're working again with a live shopping platform that shows you a dashboard of how much product is being moved at that point, you could say like, oh snap, we only have like 5 left in stock. So if you haven't already checked out already, you might miss out, right? That's going to be an opportunity for you to have that countdown. The other one too that I love is the unmute. So if you're doing something on Amazon, or if you're doing even something on Facebook where they auto mute you at that point, you might want to have like a graphic that says, hey, click to unmute. In fact, let me see if I can pull this up here real quick, because then that might be kind of fun. Give me a second. Let me pull this up and then I'll show you what I created on my end. Here you go. Yeah. Thank you, Katie, for like keeping this in here for me. So this is what I created for my own Amazon live shopping. So I created this Canva overlay with a green screen in the background. And this is just, dude, I took this photo, I just created a video in Ecamm, and then I took a still, knocked out the background, and then I used Canva to pretty much do this animated graphic of unmute and chat, unmute and chat. And so it's fun to have that in there where it's like, grab this bundle now if you wanted to. And so I actually download this as a movie file, use the chroma key, and then add this as an animated layer into Ecamm. So that was like a lot of nerdiness right there for you. Zay's like, I love that tip for urgency. Yeah, especially if you're going to do fast action bonuses. Zay, I'm thinking about like you and like your product launches or your courses for Start, Shoot, Grow. But you could have fast action bonuses where it's like, hey, jump on this right now. Good. Zay says, yes, for the Ecamm stills. I know, you and me, like we're all about that. Okay. The other one too is I have thank you. So I'll have like thank you show up and play on there to work that out. And then I'll even have on Amazon follow. Again, just be strategic with this on how you want to use these different graphics to move your audience. I was like, wait a second, am I wearing the same thing? No, I'm not. But I could totally do this. Like, that's hilarious. Okay, good. So even with this, the product, right? Maybe I want to have like confetti falling down or money falling down or all that other stuff. So have the unmutes, have the follows, have the promo code, even just say limited time offer. I even tell clients, I mean, you don't even have to get fancy. You could just have that scrolling ticker that says limited time offer, dun, 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 dun. And then that will get the audience to move from there. Good. Now let's go ahead and talk about the overarching process. So I've gone through with you pretty much the producer's checklist, understanding all the different nuances for the platform. The platform is going to be like your biggest hurdle. You want to make friends with all of these different live shopping platforms. You want to know how you can connect to it. Oh, here's another one. I didn't even mention this before, but in your run of show, so I have the link on how to join Ecamm, yeah? But then at the bottom, I have a section for emergency contacts. So yes, even though we have a back channel, I still like to have your email and your phone number in there just in case, yeah? Even if I'm working with an influencer and they have a handler / agency, I want that information on there. For the live shopping platform, I want the direct phone number to the onboarding specialist, that onboarding person, because just in case something happens, if they pushed out an update, I need to call someone right then and there and say, I need you to fix this because we're live right now or whatever it is. There are a couple of times where I had to like reach out to my main stakeholder and just be like, hey, are we doing this? Like, I need you to make the official call because it's not up to me as a producer. It's up to my main stakeholder. Got it? Great. Shout out to Zayda. She'll definitely add a timer next time. That timer is super duper helpful. Here's the other thing too, is that when you have this timer running, Zay, you could reach out to the audience and you can say, as they're checking out, okay, so what did you get? Oh, did you get the Elgato Wave mic? Let me tell you why I love this so much, why it's such a great choice. Now you're engaging with the audience. Then you can even ask them something like, who do you think this would be a great gift for? Then they start thinking outside of themselves of like, oh, maybe I could gift this to my mom, my sister, or another like audiophile or tech person that loves this type of stuff. So you could do that throughout that. You could still ask some last minute questions if you wanted to. That's always super helpful. And then as life happens is saying great graphic ideas. Yeah, they're super duper helpful. Let me see. Oh, you know, this is in Katie's account. Other things that I've had with the graphic. So let's go back to people. Yeah. Let's go back to people. If I'm working with talent and they're not used to being on camera, I typically will have the countdown timer where it says we'll be starting shortly. And then I'll use the Ecamm overlay where it has the countdown. That usually gives my guest, my presenter, enough time to like get their nerves together so that way they could show up on camera and be the best. And then another one is I can have an ending scene for when we're closing out the show. And it'll be like maybe like a 3-minute countdown timer. And then it'll have, I was going to see if I had it here, but I don't. So it would be a countdown timer, but then I would put a camera overlay of me like on the upper right hand side where my guest is just like, they're talking, they're laughing, they're, you know, popping a bottle of champagne and they're doing all that other stuff and they're really just having fun with it. Good. All right, cool. We've got 7 minutes left for me to answer all of your questions. Do what Paul says best. Go ahead and write down the letter Q, semicolon, so that way I know it's a question. And as you're doing that, I'm going to see what I've already answered so far. So as life happens, I don't know about the mannequin mock-ups. I think that's something that you're probably going to have to reach out to, maybe even some other sellers. Probably reach out to Shopify, see if they could give you some really good advice for that. The other one was about firework. I don't know this one about the Gmail biz emails, so reach out to them directly and figure out what happens there. The one that Valerie had a good question on was, how do you deal with clients who are paying you but still have a hard time giving you control? Remember, resistance in a client is a sign of a lack of rapport. So how do you build rapport with that client? How do they be reassured that you are going to take care of them? I would just ask them, Valerie. So for me to gain your trust, what does that look like, sound like, or feel like? Do you want my phone number? Do you want to have like powwow meetings every week as we lead up to the event? Do you want an extended tech rehearsal? Whatever it is that I need to know to reassure the client, but of course it's going to be built into their time. Yeah, that's always going to be helpful. Oh yeah, Paul said you might find some of these overlays in the freebies that you got for signing up. Yes, so if you haven't done so already, you'll find a couple of these freebies by heading on over to ecamm.tv/live selling. Again, Katie and I worked in the backgrounds to get you all of these different assets. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you head on over there because there's always going to be surprises. And again, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop that in the comments for me. And then sign up for the reminders, the freebies, access to an exclusive workshop training. I'm telling you, all of the brands, the live shopping platforms that I've already told you is going to be super helpful to get you started on your live selling producer journey. Because again, next month, we're going to start shifting into, let me pull this up. We're going to start talking about trends and what you can expect. And let me tell you, it's going to be a $25 billion industry. This thing is absolutely blowing up. And then June 3rd, Ecamm Fam, a live selling extravaganza. We're going to do this live with Press and Sew. So you may actually just see some of those graphics there. I love that Paul said this. Paul said, give me some thumbs up. It'll make me smile. Yes. Words of affirmation, usually they make me smile. So go for it. Please, please do. And then we're going to talk about live selling producer pricing your services. This is great. I mean, as far as taking into consideration all the nuances that I just told you of understanding the platform, the people, and the product, because the questions that you're going to be asking are going to be very different from a typical scene switcher. You get what I'm saying? Because you're going to ask, like, what are the sounds? What are the noise? What's the gear? How soon can I get that out to you? The other thing that I'll tell you too is that when you're recommending gear over to clients, please make sure that you have different budgets, right? Like, hey, these are best gear for under $50, best gear for under $100, best gear for under $150. And if you really, really want to make an investment, this is what you're going to shoot for. Yeah, because I think that's really going to helpful. That's really going to be helpful for you to be a strategic partner for that client, because more often than not, once they like knock it out of the park for their first live selling production, they're going to want to work with you again because they love your process. They love how you onboard and all the different things. Good. Elizabeth says, thank you, Paul, for the reminder. She was listening in the background. That's what I'm saying. Always super helpful. Good. Diego saying, see you in the next live stream. Hope you're doing all of this. Yeah, honestly, if you have any other questions, drop them in the comments because I want to make sure that you guys are hitting the ground running. Let me know what live shopping platforms you've already started to check out. The ones that I viewed recently was Ecamm, which is pretty interesting. I think they have like a built-in studio onto their platform, but it's not as fancy as Ecamm. I guess the thing that I want to tell you too is that some of these live shopping platforms will let you stream in portrait mode or a 16:9. And so when you have your storyboards for all of that, then it's going to be super duper helpful. Yeah? Good. I love it.
Hit you with that do-do-do-do.
Awesome. Okay, let me see if there's any other comments in here that I missed out on. Zay is saying, yes, I'll definitely add a timer next time. Having that helps because then obviously you'll know who your fast action bonuses are. Again, even if you have a live selling dashboard, you could see how quickly you're moving product. You could see that if your influencer story is really, really moving product, to get that in there. You may even do like some giveaways or things of that sort. One of the things that I'll add to is if your client is having a live shopping event and it takes the viewer out of the live stream for them to purchase the product, you want to say, before you purchase this product, go ahead and purchase it now, but come back because there's more, because we're going to announce the winner, because you may find that they jump out, they purchase it, and then they get distracted by so-and-so, whatever, right? Like Elizabeth was like, oh, I was working in the background. She may forget about the show in and of itself and might not get locked into the next deal or how to subscribe and all that other stuff. Good. As Life Fab says, thank you, Stephanie. You are super duper helpful. Yay, I love it. Dean's asking, Stream Deck or Rodecaster Pro for sound effects? Both. I mean, I use Rodecaster. I have the Rodecaster Pro right here, and I have the Stream Deck. I I think as a producer, it depends if you're going to be on site very much and what your space is going to look like. So I try to make this very, very helpful. Needed Technology says, thank you. Great information of value. Thank you so much. And again, as I said before, make sure that you subscribe because then you'll have other goodies like this. I think, Paul, we had sent this out last week. This was actually the Showrunner storyboards, how to storyboard your show, how to storyboard your live shopping segment. So I'll leave you with that information if you haven't done so already. And then from there, let's close out the show. Thank you so much. I will see you next Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific. That's right. What? Valerie says, dang girl, this just gets better and better. I'm telling you, it's always a masterclass. Showrunner, that's right. Right there. That's right. Look at that. Oh, Paul, we need to put you in here. Paul, we gotta put you in here too. The best moderator in the world. Woo-hoo. All right, friends, I will see you later. Take care.